So we released a video a little while ago that was about the ethical side of reptile keeping, and people got a little bit confused. But one person didn't really care. They just wanted to say, show us the Caiman Lizard. Do you have anything to say? And as you can see, I've got a baseball hat on because they love to get on top of your head. And they have some seriously long nails. So yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly how I wanted to go ahead and record this video. Yeah, this works out great. So this is ridiculous. This is silliness. So anyway, so we recorded a video and we were talking about a site called HappyDragons. And part of it was a little bit of clickbait, of course, because what else is YouTube? So part of it said that there was going to be the ethical end of MorphMarket, right? So a lot of people saw MorphMarket and got very upset. One of the funnier things is that before I actually sent that video out, I had actually messaged John from MorphMarket, the creator, that I was about to drop some clickbait. I messaged him and told him I was about to drop some clickbait. He didn't seem to indicate he was too worried about it. I've kind of got an arm stuck in, okay, well this is fine. I'll just do it like this. So he didn't seem to think it was too big of a deal. In fact, he kind of gave me a supportive comment. I'm pretty sure that John completely understood the point of the video. So what was the point of the video? Well, people often try to cut the hobby into a dichotomy. There's always red versus blue. There's always you versus me. There's always somebody's doing something different than somebody else, and somebody's always upset, right? So one of the things with HappyDragons is it's a collection of people. I really wish I could get my arm back. Anyway, it's a collection of people that have decided that they are somehow more ethical. So what did that mean? And we explored the website and we tried to figure out what more ethical meant. And they used words like reptile first and preventing disease, but I know for a fact that interacting with some of these people, they're not doing any sort of disease screening. In fact, if you ask them about disease, probably the best thing they can come up with is MBD. They're not going to come back up with arenaviruses or nidovirus, of course, which is a big one, or what exactly IBD is, or anything other than just MBD. There's more disease than MBD in the reptile hobby. Crypto is, of course, a huge one. There's a great episode of Snakes and Stogies that just came out earlier this week. I think it's episode 102 that you should probably go check out if you haven't yet. That talks about some of these diseases. But anyway, so we explored that whole website that apparently has failed to launch like 4 times. They didn't even buy the domain for happydragons.com. They bought a side domain of .co. So the question was, how committed are they to being ethical and being able to replace MorphMarket with their new superior animals? And the answer is not really. So exploring the site, we saw people that were raising animals inside of mortar tubs with 2x4s and chicken wire. We saw people that had geckos in tubs that were just on the floor. We saw people using ReptiCarpet. Basically, we saw people on that site doing exactly the same thing that everybody on every other site, from MorphMarket to Fauna Classifieds to anywhere else, are doing. How is it more ethical? And the answer was, it's not more ethical. One of the fun parts of the website was also that they featured ReptiFiles, which anytime you mention ethical, I love it when people mention ethical and then ReptiFiles, right? So if you don't know ReptiFiles already, they've gone through all these Facebook groups like Advancing Herp Husbandry, which is a car wreck on its own, and said things like all reptiles are suffering permanent injury because they don't have UV, and then point their fingers at folklore medicine. So they're telling everybody else that they're doing folklore medicine. Whoops. Hope she didn't like, my face. And that's you and me, while they do the exact same thing. So it's nonsense. But anyway, ReptiFiles, if you're in for a laugh, this is so awkward to do this whole thing with a Caiman Lizard on my head. So if you're in for a laugh, definitely go visit the Ackie Care Guide for ReptiFiles, because it's amazing. So let's go ahead and read it. So it starts with the Ackie monitor, also known as ridgetail monitor, spiny-tailed monitor, or Accie's dwarf monitor. Notice it says Ackie twice. Now let's go to visit Wikipedia. The spiny-tailed monitor, also known as the Australian spiny-tailed monitor, the ridgetail monitor, or Accie's dwarf monitor. This is the same sentence. This is the same sentence. This is literally cut and pasted from Wikipedia with a little bit of patch writing. That would get you kicked out of any university, kicked off of a journalist's job, for a newspaper, whatever. It's absolutely unethical. And it also puts ReptiFiles inside of what's known as CC by SA, which is what Wikipedia is. You're allowed to copy Wikipedia, however, your remixed version is now entered into Creative Commons and attribution. Share and share alike. All of these things you can go look up. You can go look up on Wikipedia. It's on Wikipedia. It's public, right? So this is spam. This is literally spam, and it doesn't even credit Wikipedia as where she cut and pasted this from. So this is ethical, right? So that is ethical. HappyDragons.co is ethical, and then saying that everybody else is practicing folklore husbandry is ethical. This was the point of the video, was a reflection on our community and the way that we divide ourselves. But the thing that everybody took away was apparently that I hated John from MorphMarket. One of the funnier comments was somebody that was actually standing next to me at the last Tenley while I was talking to John. If my goal was to take out John, I could have just like Kirby'd him and then spit him at a wall, right? Like obviously I'm not trying to go assassinate John from MorphMarket. I was standing 6 feet from him. We had a whole conversation. So yeah, there's no reason to go defend John. John knew what was going on. John got the joke, even though there really wasn't a joke. It was more of a reflection as mentioned. But I would really want to try to clear some of this up and also make a silly video with a Caiman Lizard, because that's what people like. But I wanted to clear some of this up, so here's this video. So it's a short video describing exactly what the car wreck was behind HappyDragons, who has still failed to launch. People do message me with stuff like, oh, they own HappyDragons.com, ugh. But at this time, it's not even pointed to the web application for HappyDragons.co. So even if they own it, they haven't even pointed it over. So I'm pretty sure that's not going to launch. I think it should launch. I think that we should have competition, and we do have other classified sites, but I'm not going to mention any for fear of, everybody's going to go tell me they're going to whoop me at Tenley for not, mentioning MorphMarket first or something. But we should have competition, right? So we should have outlets for stuff like that. However, we should not have outlets that claims that everybody else is unethical or somehow not doing these animals correctly when there's no quantifiable evidence to any of the above, and they're doing exactly what everybody else is doing. That was the reflection. That was the takeaway. She looked really comfortable for a moment. I'm not very comfortable, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this. All right, have fun.